Have you guys ever stopped and wondered what the FNAF 1 characters would look like if they were in real life? Well, if so, I think I found the perfect game for you guys to try on Game Jolt. And although it is still in its demo and it hasn't fully released, it is still one of the best FNAF fan games that I have ever played. I mean, look at the quality of this game, and when you press the Freddy Fazbear on the poster as well as Chica's nose, it even honks. So you just know that it's one of the best FNAF fan games just based off that. And then, of course, you can't make a FNAF fan game without the fan. Look at that fan just fanning. One of the best characters in the games for sure. If you want to see Glocko-sama in the fan go on a date, then make sure you guys hit like and subscribe, and let's get straight into the video. So the game that I'm talking about is Blood and Gears, and it is on Game Jolt currently. I'm not sure if it's on Steam. It is a complete reimagining of the original Five Nights at Freddy's 1 game, and it is created by J.D. Bryant and a passionate team of over 30 people, and it definitely looks like a lot of people put their heart and soul into this game. This is one of the best quality looking Five Nights at Freddy's FNAF games that I have ever seen. The story follows, it takes place in Colorado Springs during October 2003, and already this looks like a much more flushed out and a better take on the original Five Nights at Freddy's game, as obviously, the original was made back in like what, 2014, so the story wasn't really thought out. But now we have the power of hindsight, and we're able to create a much overall better story. And like I said, this is the only a demo, so there was only one night that I was able to play that I'm gonna get into in a second. But at the same time, it looks already much more fleshed out. And as you can see, from the clips and the game clips that I'm probably rotating, this is definitely one of those thought out projects that I see actually coming out. Now, getting into the gameplay, while crafting the office gameplay for Blood and Gears, we weren't trying to reinvent the wheel. We decided it'd be best to create a blend of a classic Five Nights at Freddy's 1 gameplay with a few of our own unique mechanics mixed in. Where we really get to be creative is in the overtime segments. At the end of the first night, you will have a choice whether or not to participate in overtime during that week, which are small mini games that take place in between each night that mainly consist of a various chore assigned to you by Jeremy, varying in difficulty. By participating in overtime, you may be rewarded with bonus content who wouldn't be unlocked otherwise. Not everything described in this gameplay description will be available in the demo, and I don't think the overtime segment was available in the demo, unfortunately, so I'm going to make a new video whenever this game does come out. But I do want to get into the gameplay that is in the demo because it is action packed. So I'm kind of an idiot. There was an overtime segment. I kind of was confused on whether that was the actual night or an overtime segment, but I guess the first night is just an overtime segment as you get straight into the call with Jeremy, and then Jeremy proceeds to tell you that there is a game that is acting funky and that you need to go check it out and see if you are able to fix it. The protagonist, which is unnamed currently, like said earlier, go ahead and proceeds with the overtime segment, and that is when the fun begins, and that is when you get to meet the first animatronics, starting with Bonnie. Now, when taking a look at Bonnie, there's definitely an uncanny feeling looking at all of these animatronics for one, but Bonnie kind of looks like Freddy, just blue. But there is definitely a different take on these characters, and they look a lot more different than their Five Nights at Freddy's actual counterparts. They look a lot more fuzzy and a lot more real, and they have realistic teeth, which just makes them absolutely disgusting. Right here in the description for Bonnie, it says that he is Freddy's right hand man and the guitarist in the band. This wisecracking blue bunny can rock and roll, and it was created in 1983, which I believe is lore accurate. Do not tell me to get into the Five Nights at Freddy's lore. I am more confused than you are. So yeah. Then in my opinion, the scariest is Chica the chicken, and Chica the chicken just looks odd. I'm not gonna lie. Like, what are you doing if a 6'3" yellow bird looking ass chicken comes up to you with her creepy ass cupcake and tries to eat you, bro? There's nothing that you can do. And look at her eyes, like they just look real uncanny. It looks like they like meshed a face in the back of the head together, And I think the reason why these characters are so scary is because they look so real. They look like this is genuinely an animatronic that you would see in real life. They kind of remind me of the old Chuck E. Cheese animatronics because that is just what they look like. The Five Nights at Freddy's ones are real disgusting and ugly looking, but at the same time, they're kind of not really that realistic. And you know, that's not really an animatronic that you would ever see, but these animatronics definitely look like they would have been used in real life. When looking into the extras menu, like I was doing, there is also some other animatronics. There's an animatronic mech, which is the inner workings of Freddy Fazbear's and friends. There's a Helpy Pal, which originates from an internal program set to automate negligible tasks for Fazbear employees, later evolving into short-lived Helpy Pal digital assistant. Learn more at www.fazbeararchive.com/hashtags which I am going to go ahead and search later in the video. So if you guys want to see that, stay tuned in the entire video. There's some plushies, which I don't know if they're genuinely for sale. And then we get into Freddy Fazbear, which unfortunately is not actually in the game, but he's the star of the show, obviously, a big cuddly bear from the American South, here to sing you your favorite hits. And I think it's real fun that they have these little descriptions because you get to learn more about these characters. And Freddy Fazbear, I think, is one of the scariest animatronics ever in general. But the take that they have for this guy looks like he'll bite your fucking head off. I'm not gonna lie. Like, look at the way this motherfucker is looking, bro. He look all cute and cuddly, but he looks like he snaps in 5 seconds and is ready to bite your head off. So now actually getting into the gameplay, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, the gameplay was really fucking annoying because I sat there for an hour, basically. I think it was around 45 minutes doing the same mini game, and you have to get to a level of 1983. So basically, you are doing this mini game called Fazbear on the Run while you look left and right, making sure that you don't get caught up by some animatronics. So Chica comes to your left and Bonnie comes to your right, and both of the characters basically play the exact same way. The only difference is the direction that they're coming from, as yeah, Chica goes from the left and Bonnie goes to the right. You do have a battery system with your batteries, so if your batteries run out, you're cooked, because the way you are able to get rid of these animatronics is just by flashing a light at them. So the game in and of itself isn't hard, but that damn mini game is fucking, I see that shit in my nightmares, dog. I'm not gonna hold you, because basically you're just Freddy Fazbear, but you're jumping over like tables and you're jumping over presents, and then you also have to duck under birds. And don't ask me why I was struggling with that shit, but I was struggling with that shit, bro. And then like I remember like the first night, like I was terrified because I didn't really know what I was getting into. And then I hear like breathing in my ear, and I'll show you all the game clip of how they breathe in your ear. I almost shit my pants, I'm not gonna lie to you. Then getting into the final topic of this video before I go ahead and go and search up that link or whatever, the jump scares. Now, the jump scares aren't nothing special, but these animatronics are scary as hell, especially when they're breathing down your neck. So when you don't really expect it to come and they just fucking jump scare you while you're playing the game, you already have a lot of anxiety. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I did scream out loud the first couple of times I got jump scared. After a bit, I wasn't really too scared of them, because you know, I already knew the drill, and I was getting kind of tired of the fucking game because I was over there 45 minutes doing the same goddamn mini game. Which whenever the new game comes out, you know, I'm sure it won't be as repetitive. You feel me? It's only one night, but damn, these jump scares did get me a couple of times. So yeah, if you guys want to play this game, this is a good little scare for y'all, and as well as it's also one of the best animatronic designs that I've ever seen, as well as one of the best design games I've ever seen, because you know, the quality, the graphics, all that shit, it's very top notch, very top tier. And then mixed with like the scenery, like it's raining outside, and I really liked, because it was raining where I live. So it was dark out, it was raining, and I was playing it in my kitchen in the complete darkness, and it was definitely a very creepy vibe. And if you guys go ahead and search up that link, it does take you to a page of Fazbear Archive where it has more listed characters, such as obviously we have the gang, Freddy Fazbear, Bonnie the Bunny, Chica the Chicken, but it actually has Foxy the Pirate, as well as Carl the Cupcake, which is Chica's cupcake. There's Chica's Magic Rainbow, which looks absolutely terrifying. Melvin the Mushroom, which I have no clue who that guy is. I've never heard of him. I guess, they're adding on some new characters, some original characters, which is pretty cool. And then we have Helpy the Hamster, which I didn't know he was a hamster. I thought he was a bear, but it gives you a much longer description of all of these characters as well as the original crew. It gives you a much more longer, much more lengthy, and a much more action packed, I guess, lore packed description of these guys. But there are 4 characters with no photos, which includes the puppet, Fredbear, Bonnie Rabbit, which I'm gonna assume is the yellow rabbit, and then Sparky the dog. So Sparky the dog is actually a part of this game's lore. I don't want to get too much into the lore of this game. I want you guys to go ahead and check this game out for yourselves. And I think I'm gonna end the video here, guys. Make sure you guys hit like and subscribe, and make sure you guys check out this video game because this is one of the best and one of the most action-packed as well as one of the best design games that I have ever seen when it comes to the Five Nights at Freddy's fan game sphere. I'm gonna see you guys later. Go like, I'm gonna love you guys, and make sure you hit sub for the next video.